Based on its initial impressions, Valorant is well on its way to being the next big shooter out there, but there have been mixed opinions on the game for some of the aspects it tries to bring to the table, especially from some more major streamers.
Rainbow sparkles and unicorns and stuff, like, because that's just not for me. I'm not gonna sit there with this tornado whirlwind in front of me, waiting it out, and then it disappears, and a firewall goes up, and then.
What do you think of the game? I mean, it's a good game. It's just boring.
The thing that can be wrong with Valorant is I think the abilities are going to be its undoing. If I'm being 100% honest, I think from a viewer's perspective, I was thinking about it while we were playing. From a viewer's perspective, it's very kind of slow and bland in some of these very stupid and like boring choke points, right? It's like this choke point mid, put a smoke down, put a smoke down, put a smoke down. And then it's just like one big hit, almost like Overwatch. It's kind of like, I don't know. I also realized there's not really a lot of like crazy cool moments where you're watching somebody and getting hype about him getting like a 3K or something like that. Just, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be as competitively fun to watch for a viewer in tournaments as Counter-Strike is. You know what I'm saying? I think the abilities are going to be... They're gonna make or break the game, my friends.
I don't think Summit's the only one who thinks this way, frankly. There have been a lot of skepticism over the balance of the abilities in Valorant, especially when used at the competitive level. However, I think Riot actually put a lot of thought into exactly how the game is paced and how everything works together. Feel free to share your own thoughts and opinions in the comments and drop a like or sub if you'd like to see more discussions like this. You see, by this point, Riot Games has gotten some experience into how to create and develop an esport title. There are specific decisions that they made along its creation process to essentially ensure that it would grow and prosper as an esport. As such, elements in the game that you might have found frustrating yourself are due to comparisons to other games and have different levels of balance to go around them. Valorant does not try to innovate too hard on the basic formula for tactical shooters, as their main focus was polishing the competitive experience. However, they did place a big emphasis on the concept of having abilities in their game in place of standard utility. This adds a new level of depth that in the genre has never been seen before, but also is a tough thing to balance. A lot of the abilities are also faced with longer cast times, which usually means that they can only be used without being able to pressure with a gun. I'll be going over why people may think the way they do about the state of the game and how that in reality, this is how the game balances itself and actually creates a unique experience. The main reason people have these complaints is that because Valorant presents differences when compared to the well-defined systems that already exist in other games. The first point of discussion was that a lot of the abilities are overpowered in the game and ruin the integrity of the gunplay. Frankly, I think the abilities need to be that strong to the point where they present legitimate alternatives to simply pressuring with your gun out in standard tactical shooters. This is especially the case due to the lower skill requirement for gunplay in Valorant when compared to something like CSGO. Another argument that these abilities present is that the pacing in the game is too slow, and I think that this works in tandem with the abilities, as we've seen fast-paced shooters fail before with stuff like the absolute shit show that is the Battle Royale genre, as well as games like Overwatch. Clearly, developers are actually pumping way too much into their games, and from a spectator point of view, it's actually extremely hard to follow and in many cases is borderline unwatchable. By slowing down the pacing to something like CSGO, it offers a much better viewing experience and things can be properly followed. Yes, there is still the potential for some crazy engages with multiple ultimates and such, but Riot has put in sufficient cast times and has controlled the frequencies of these abilities such that it will not be much of an issue. Most of the ultimates in the game are not giant teamfight bombs as well. I think anyone calling Riot out on the gunplay mechanics is honestly just complaining for the sake of doing so. There's no golden rule that states that the gun mechanics need to be exactly as punishing as CSGO, and this game does not need it. A lot of the time, normal tactical shooter concepts like holding angles or having good crosshair placement and movement can be bypassed with how powerful the abilities are in the game. This is why I believe the gunplay doesn't need to be as hard as CSGO, because by having a lower learning curve for the gunplay combined with high power and abilities actually creates an interesting equilibrium that it has its own kind of balance we haven't seen from the genre before. Valorant has been receiving some complaints from a few individuals about how the game runs, and that's okay. I'm sure not every person will like the game. However, the game has been designed with much intention, and all of these systems work well together in a way that's quite systematic yet intuitive. So faulting the game's individual systems is an overgeneralization of the game. I agree that there are things that still need to be fine-tuned here and there, which is true especially considering the game is still in closed beta, but by and large, Riot Games has got a winner on their hands.